What is going on, everybody? Tyler Brandt back here with another video, and the first time you've probably seen me since draft night. I want to apologize first and foremost. I was busy graduating college. That's the big news. That's where I've been for the last month. I had a couple more weeks to finish the school. Finished that. I'm officially a communications major. Pretty cool. Took a week or two to blow off some steam as much as I could in quarantine. But now I'm back because I don't have a job yet. So let's do some full-time Patriots content now. We can crank out some fun stuff. I know I missed a ton of draft review, and there's going to be time to look at the prospects that they drafted and really dive into some of them, especially some of the bigger name guys. However, today we're going to keep things light. We're going to keep things simple and kind of fun. And I thought, what a better way to start or restart Tyler Brandt 2.0 Patriots content here than by looking at the Patriots 2020 schedule, breaking it down a little bit. We're definitely going to dive into this more in future videos, but this is just kind of like a quick scan of the Patriots 2020 schedule. So let's dive in and take a look at it. All right, so the first thought looking at the 2020 schedule that I had through my mind, and we're going to break down why I thought it, but the first thought I had was that this schedule is an absolute gauntlet. We are going to see just how good of a coach Bill Belichick is and how good this team really is. The Patriots, they have the toughest schedule in the NFL statistically, and you can very clearly see why just at a quick glance through this schedule. So breaking it down a little bit, one of the reasons, quite frankly, they do have a very tough schedule is because they play both the AFC and the NFC champions. So they play the Super Bowl champions, AFC champion, Kansas City Chiefs. They go to Arrowhead very early in the season. And right after their bye, which I believe is week 4 or week 5, they play the San Francisco 49ers at home. That's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo's homecoming back to New England. So in, I think it's 3 or 4 weeks, they get both the AFC/Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, and they get the San Francisco 49ers. That's just the beginning of what makes this schedule so tough. So already just not ideal if you're a fan or if you're, a Patriot lover. It's going to be a tough ride for sure. Next up, as we continue to break down this schedule, they play 4 division winners that were division winners in 2019. So we already said the Kansas City Chiefs. They play the Houston Texans, and they go on the road to Houston. They host the Baltimore Ravens, and they play the San Francisco 49ers. Again, we already talked about the 49ers and the Chiefs winning their division. But along with that, they play the number 1 seed last year, Baltimore Ravens, division winner, and the AFC South, the division winner, the Houston Texans. So another way to further kind of break down this schedule, as we said, they play 4 division winners, both teams that were in the Super Bowl last year, and they play 6 playoff teams from last year. So we kind of already went over 4 of them. You got the Chiefs, the 49ers, the Ravens, the Texans, and then you have 2 against Buffalo, who we all know, if you're a Patriot fan and you've been following the last year or two, they're a good team. They're a very good team. So the Patriots overall, they play 6 teams that were in the playoffs, but they play 7 games against playoff teams last year that are coming into this current year. So again, it's just kind of another way to dice up that schedule a little bit more. You throw Buffalo into the mix of all those division winners, and it just further goes to show you how much of a gauntlet this schedule really is. Next up, as we continue to break down the schedule, 7 games. New England plays 7 games versus teams that were 500 or better. So we talk about 6 playoff teams, another team that finished over 500, and then to even further break that down, you talk about 2 more teams that have made massive improvements that aren't even counted on this list. They have a game against Denver, who ended the season very hot. Looks like Drew Lock's their guy. They've made vast improvements. And the Arizona Cardinals is a team they're going to have to play. And again, Arizona made vast improvements getting DeAndre Hopkins. Year 2 of Cliff Kingsbury. Year 2 of Kyler Murray. So not only do they have a tough mix of playoff teams, a lot of the teams that they are going to play also hovered around 500 and have gotten significantly better in this offseason. All right, next up, as we go down this list, now let's talk about the primetime games. They have 5 primetime games. They have a bunch on Sunday Night Football and, of course, the Monday Night Football game and the Thursday Night Football game. So they are going to be on TV if you're not in the New England area. Like myself, I stream most of the games on Sunday afternoons, but we'll all be able to watch Patriots on prime time. The lights are going to be very bright for Jarrett Stidham, Bill Belichick, and company, as they'll have a ton of primetime games. And beyond that, they have 3 4 o'clock games. So they have 3 game of the weeks, whether it be for Fox or CBS, probably CBS. But they have 3 4 o'clock games, 5 primetime games. So if you're a fan of watching the New England Patriots on your television under the brightest lights, that hasn't changed with the departure of Brady. Stidham and Belichick are still here, so the lure lives on, at least for now, and that's by having a boatload of primetime and national televised games. So one of the last things before I give you a rough estimation of what I think their record is going to be today, just looking today, but the last thing I really want to hit on is the Patriots travel across the country a ton. And a ton's normally not that much. They have 3 games on the West Coast. They're probably only going to end up making 2 trips. They have to go to Seattle in week 2, and then in December, they have back-to-back games at the Rams and at the Chargers. So the travel is not going to be friends to New England. Now, the 2 LA games, I believe it's a Sunday game against the Rams and then a Thursday game against the Chargers. So they're probably going to end up making the trip once and staying there for 2 weeks, which also kind of sucks. But they're going to have to do a lot of traveling. They got to go to the West Coast twice this coming year, which is not ideal. And then beyond that, beyond the road division games, they also have to make a trip to Kansas City and to Houston. So the games that are on the road are tough. And then you add on having to go across the country twice. And this season is going to be an absolute grind for the Patriots. So that's a basic breakdown of the schedule. As the season gets closer, we are going to dive into some of the games more head-to-head. For example, the Week 1 game against Miami, I'm very, very excited to see what both teams bring to the table. I think Miami is a very dark horse team if Tua gets right early and that team clicks early. But that's, again, a video for another day. This was just a brief schedule breakdown, just the first glances and what I noticed from looking at the schedule the first few times. But before I go, let me give a final kind of wrap up on this video and give you a kind of a record at the end of the season, let's say. So I honestly think, looking at the schedule right now on June 2nd, 2020, I think that New England is a 9-7 team. I mean, this is an absolute grueling schedule. And I like Jarrett Stidham, and I like what they have there. I don't think they're going to be a bottom feeder team, but they're going to have to beat a lot of good teams, and I'm just not sure Stidham and company are ready to go into Kansas City and win a game, go into Seattle and win a game. I think those, especially very early in the season, I think could be very, very big pitfalls, and it could just be real ugly games. So right now, 9-7. Things will change. We still have training camp. We still have preseason. We still have an entire summer to go. But if you ask me today, 9-7. Remember, there are 7 seeds in the playoffs now. If after the new collective bargaining, it was passed. So 9-7 may be good enough to sneak into the playoffs and keep that record and keep that stretch alive. We will see. But that's going to do it for today's video. Once again, I'm Tyler Brandt. Follow me on all socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Get at me there. Talk about the schedule. Get at me in the comments below if you want to talk schedule. And until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you on the next video.